The idea for this book came about because I think in our society we're seeing people turn away from a belief in the supernatural at astounding rates. There's a militant form of atheism out there that just denies there's any extra dimension to this world. And at the same time, there are folks who are so caught up with the supernatural that they'll believe anything in, mediums and all this astrology, that kind of stuff. So what I want to do with this book is say, is there a legal case that could demonstrate there is another dimension? Because we find out if things are true by trying them in court. And I wanted to think about a legal case that would demonstrate there's a spiritual dimension to this world. What would that case look like? And the result was by reason of insanity. By reason of insanity really has two key characters. The first is a Las Vegas attorney, and he's very cynical, he's very secular, he doesn't really believe that there's even a spiritual dimension, much less does he believe in God. But he's a specialist in the insanity defense. And he ends up representing a journalist, Catherine O'Rourke, who actually has some visions about how crimes occurred, and as a result of those visions, she becomes prime suspect number one. And so she wonders, am I going crazy? Do I have multiple personalities? And this attorney, Quinn Newberg, represents Catherine O'Rourke, who's having these visions. And in the course of the book, you learn about the insanity plea, the insanity defense. You learn that, there is another, that God sometimes gives dreams and sometimes gives visions. And these are things that can be verifiable and proved in a court of law. And that's what By Reason of Insanity is really all about. The issue of how do Christians wrestle with the paranormal. And I think we tend to do one of two things as Christians. We tend to deny that it exists, or just say it's so evil we're not going near it. But I think what Christians need to do is struggle with this and say, there is paranormal, there is supernatural in the world. And what I've tried to do in this book is to walk Christians through an analysis of this. What can that be? Is it something from God? Is it something from Satan? But it is real. Let's not deny that it exists. Let's recognize that it's real. And then let's bring our world value and worldview to bear on it so that we can understand it better. Not all things that are supernatural are evil. God gave dreams and visions to a lot of folks in the Bible who weren't Christians. Nebuchadnezzar, for example, and Pilate's wife, for example. And so a lot of times God can still communicate through dreams and visions, does it all the time in the Muslim world. And I think as Christians, we can't have knee-jerk reactions to these kinds of things. I think there are probably two key takeaways I'd like the reader to walk away with at the end of the day. The first thing is what you see, there's more to life than what you see. There's more to life than the material things that make up this world. There's a spiritual dimension. It's an active spiritual dimension. It's the same thing that Daniel saw when God pulled back the curtain and allowed him to see the spiritual warfare going on. So that's one thing I'd love for readers to see. The second thing is that God is a God of justice, and we can't take that into our own hands. In some respects, this book is about vigilante justice and our need to seek vengeance and revenge ourselves instead of leaving that to the sovereignty of God.